question is whether that standard overlays the building of a garage.
This is Mark. I'm not sure. Am I able to add a comment?
Yes.
So the comment would be if we had to bring the structure forward 10 feet, it brings that one corner 12 feet from the house, which makes it difficult for the turning transition. So the reasoning for pushing it back is to make that transition reasonable.
Right. So they would, because yeah, if we did observe the setback, then it would make it difficult for access for the property owner.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question?
Sure, Don.
I understand it doesn't meet the setbacks, but isn't that why we're asking for a variance? I mean, that's why we're here, because we know that it doesn't meet the setbacks. That's why we're asking for a variance. And that same consideration has been given, or as George says, not enforced, over on the Iron Court side, where currently there are some property owners that are even over on the property line. And like I said, we're not trying to cause
I've seen that, yeah.
an issue over there, but the precedent has been set that this property is virtually not buildable.
Right.
The building is not going to take away or detract from the property owner's property that butts up against us, because it's not usable. Not even if an eave were to go down, there's nothing visibly or structurally that is going to be hindered by placing that building there.
I do have one question on it. So we're coming in off of Emerald Drive. Does that mean, because you're showing a tree there on the property,
That tree's probably gonna have to go.
So that's my question, is if you're coming off of Emerald Court, then you have to go through where that tree is or out around where that tree is, and then make a kind of an S curve to get back into that building if it is approved and built.
Yep, you're gonna,
Yeah, this is Mark. There's about 26 feet. We would use probably 18 feet to come up. That tree was just put in a couple of years ago, so we relocate that to the back there.
Ah, okay. That answers my question, thank you.
Brad, I have a quick question for you. If it says, if approved, fire-rated assembly in compliance with the building codes must be applied with, I mean, isn't that the case with every building that we build?
When we get within 5 feet, then it has to be fire rated.
It has to be fire-rated. Okay, and so Mark and Bridget, you're aware of that?
We have Sean from Perfectly, they're just doing the concrete, and Kim Jones from JCR, so I'll mention that to them. They're the ones constructing the structure.
and we're not asking for a variance on the fire codes or anything else. You're just asking for a variance on the setback.
Yeah, the placement of the,
Right.
yeah. Okay, well, is there any more discussion at this point?
So if somebody's gonna do a motion, I wanna hear a motion with findings of fact as to why the property is exceptional and why the use of the property would, if without the variance, would pose an exceptional or undue hardship upon the owners of the property.
This is Mark. Do you need me to write something for that? Because the hardship.
No, sir. That's, if our board members are gonna make a motion to pass this, if they're so inclined, that's the findings they need to make in order for it to comply
Could you repeat that?
Just the last part,
So, yeah, whoever on our board makes the motion needs to make a finding within the bounds of section A of 1796.010, that they should have that in front of them. So the motion's got to include a finding of the particular sort of unique properties of the property itself, whether they're narrow, shallow, or a specific shape, and why not granting a variance would create an exceptional or undue hardship upon the property owner.
okay.
I mean, they've heard back on that, so they can make that finding.
Okay, well, this is Leah Brown. I would move to approve, the variance. Well, first reason, the precedent has already been made. You know, other neighbors have done the same thing.
That's not the law.
Okay, but to address, I think, to address what you were saying, in order for them to, construct the driveway safely, the variance would need to be approved. They need that extra 10 feet to do so. So, I'm not sure if that addresses what, I think that addresses what you were stating there. But I would move to approve the variance.
Do I hear a motion? Do I hear a second?
I second.
Brad seconds. Okay, it's time for a vote. And the vote is on approval of the variance, garage property on property address, general location 2311 Emerald Court, Mineral Heights subdivision, accessory parcel 010-731-60. Applicants are Bridget Sardarelli, aka Bridget.
You don't need to reread this.
Okay, thank you. And
You got a motion and a second.
I have a motion and a second, and all those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Unanimous.
And I'm abstaining.
And one abstention. Jason abstains.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'll give George my seat.
and
You can have my seat, George.
next item B, approval of. Was that again?
I just wanted you to say thank you.
Absolutely no problem. Thank you.
Good night, everyone, thank you.
Okay.
Item B, sketch for possible action, approval of recommendation, McLean County Commission on a petition for vacation or abandonment of road or easement. Petitioner is Gateway Accommodations LLC. Property to be considered for abandonment is the alleyway between 55 Alto Street, APN 005-114-05, and 155 South Nettie Avenue, APN 005-114-06, 110 South Baker Avenue, APN 005-114-04, and 150 South Baker Avenue, APN 005-114-03, located in Bacon, Nevada. And I guess, due to our meeting last month, what was in question there was, I believe it was the water rights on the stream going through that alleyway. Has that been resolved?
Chairman Newstone is here as well.
Okay.
If it please the commission, I'd just like to read the letter that I sent to Jennifer, and that maybe will clarify. This was in, you may have this in your packet, I'm not sure. I am modifying my original petition for abandonment that was discussed at the last RPC virtual meeting, and I would like to withdraw the request to abandon Ely Street and Nettie Avenue from the petition. So that just singles down to the alleyway. And the request would be only for the alleyway, and there are 4 bullet points there. The alleyway is on block 24. It's approximately 20 feet wide by 300. And the properties that are on the east are mine, our Gateway, and the properties on the west are the Cerises. The documentation, there's letters from Baker Ranch indicating that there's no problem with their water right, and then the Baker Water and Sewer also wrote a letter saying that there is no conflict with water and sewer. And the approval letter to remove the power line by Mount Wheeler Power, I'm not sure that that's been completed, that it's in the process. Apparently they had a positive COVID case at the office and that shut them down, so Jake Brunson was not able to get some of the paperwork done. And on Monday the 18th, I sent a letter to Jake Cerise, the other property owner, asking if he could get the document signed. And that he says, sorry, been crazy busy trying to reopen the restaurant, and that we'll take care of it as soon as possible. So the two property owners have agreed that the power line will be removed at no cost, is what Mount Wheeler said. They would do it at no cost if both of us agreed. So the power line will be removed. So I think all of the conditions that were negatively influencing the abandonment, I think have been resolved.
Okay. Did you get that, Brad?
Yes, I did. That was all concerning, they were talking about the alleyway.
Right.
Correct, yes.
All right, so this is a little out of the ordinary because the public hearing has been done already. What I'd like to do is have the chairman sort of open it up or recognize anybody who's on the phone, on Zoom, or in person to hear if abandonment of this property would sort of materially injure any member of the public. So that's the standard for this type of transaction.
Okay. Okay, then I will do so. I'm opening that up to anyone listening in the public to make comment, as if this abandonment is going to impact them in any negative way of the properties out in Baker. Oh. I don't hear anybody.
Okay, Chairman, this is Brad again.
Yeah, Brad.
Are we still considering the abandonment of Elko and Nettie?
No.
He's removed that from the request.
Yeah, he removed that from the request.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Brad, could you describe to the board exactly what would be retained, so it's clear the record, what exactly that would be abandoned at this point?
So the abandonment, what would be left would be the alleyway or the utility corridor between Nettie and Elko, or no, South Baker Avenue.
Actually, no, it's
No,
between
but-
Elko and Ely.
Yeah, between Elko and Ely Street.
No, okay. I
Do you have that map with, has the little pink slip right in? So the abandonment would be, oh, you have the bigger one? Okay.
Yeah, we can remember that.
Yeah,
alleyway between Nettie and Baker Avenue.
correct.
No,
Yes.
Between Nettie and Baker.
between, the alleyway runs from Ely Avenue, Ely Street to Elko Street. It runs parallel with Baker and Nettie.
Correct. On this map.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion or no motion on the description as, Harold stated.
I will make that motion. Is that far enough to go? All right, my motion is to abandon the alleyway between Elbow and Ely Streets that runs parallel with Baker and Nettie Avenues.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Jason seconds.
And then just to clarify, this is just a recommendation to the county, the White Pine County Commission.
Correct.
Right.
Yes. And, okay, we have a motion and a second. Shall I hear, all those in favor, say aye?
Aye.
All those opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you. Just like to recommend or recognize you for allowing me to continue this without having to refile fees and things like that.
That was the
It's-
point, yeah.
It was very generous of you to do that, and I really appreciate it.
We appreciate your following up on everything and answering all of our questions that we had. I know it was kind of a long drawn out meeting last time with it, and
Yeah,
we had lots of questions, but we appreciate you clarifying that and doing everything possible to make that happen.
Well, it was obvious that once we investigated the abandonment of the streets, that was obviously ill-conceived in the first place. But the facts came out that it was not advisable, so, and I recommend that that's a good thing too. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please drive safe home.
You bet.
Okay. Item C, discussion only of use codes and zoning regulations, purposes and/or descriptions. And I think that had to do with having both zoning and assessors kind of coming together on,
So I'm passing out three things. Two of them are assessor's use codes, and then the last is just kind of information about the assessor's office.
So this is supposed to give us information that we're supposed to remember and use it, right?
Well, with some caveats, yes. So, urge to do.
Please. Thank you.
So, Brad had asked me to come to the meeting, I don't know if there'd been this is a long ways away, some kind of questions about the assessor's codes. The first one is a summary listing. This is, I think, 4 pages out of like 70 some odd pages. The Department of Taxation issues land use codes that all the counties use, are all uniform throughout the state. And they update their guide pretty much annually. And like a lot of government things, every once in a while, every 3 or 4 years, they like to change it all up. So then we get to do a lot of work and change our codes. Our codes have nothing to do with zoning. The second one, handout staple thing with color on it, that is what we used. I mean, don't mind the cross-outs there in the first little bit. So the state comes out with a 2-digit code. We end up using a 3-digit code to better identify properties. And we use this internally pretty much only, or for searching for properties, or helping the demographer figure out how many single-family houses we have, or duplexes, or manufactured houses within the community for reporting. It doesn't have anything to do with the zoning. So an example I like to use is you could have a house in the middle of the strip in Clark County, and it would be coded as a 200. Well, obviously it's in a high-density commercial zoning district, but it's what is there is what we put on for the assessor use codes. So we have houses on Altman Street that are in commercial areas. They're a 200. We go to an example, one we just changed is HLC Tire down in Lund. We had that as, I think, as a 200 or a 200 something code, because there was a shop there. We just changed it a few days ago to a 400 as we were going through our reappraisal area there. So we try to use these codes to identify what is actually on the property. And I'm open to any questions that you have on anything.
My concern with presenting this was that we've had zoning and use codes. And having a use code that says it's a residential house on Altman, and then having the bank say, no, that's zoned commercially. We're not gonna let them have an FHA loan. It poses conflicts for the realtors and the clients on how they can deal with the land and the property.
I mean, and those happen. I don't have an answer because I don't have anything to do with the zoning. I have zero control over zoning in my office. Now, you guys do as the RPC, and I do want to say I am a huge supporter of doing the Regional Planning Commission, and Carol has a lot of experience, and Carol and I have worked together a long time in numerous capacities, but, you know, it's great you guys are volunteering.
Then my other question is, when we go to sell a property, do we just look at the zoning or the use code?
Can I comment on that? Because, and I don't remember exactly how long ago it's been, but there was something in one of the codes, and I can't tell you where, because, yeah. Anyway, we were told that if, in fact, the houses that are on Altman, because this has come up before, if the houses that were on Altman had remained residential all the way through, they could still be sold as residential because they're grandfathered in, they are old enough that they're grandfathered in. But if in fact they have been converted to a business commercial building, they cannot be reverted back to residential. They have to remain commercial.
So
Carol,
you,
Carol, this is Brad, can I
Yeah?
mention one thing? I know what you're talking about, and what they did, the city did on that, is people were able to go and change the zoning on Altman who had a residence and show that it had never been used for anything but a residence. You can change it to an R zone, which is the residential. That was what they did. Once it was used as a commercial property, it could not be changed back to residential.
Yeah, and that was what I understood.
Right, I would recommend that the real estate agents would probably need to use the zoning as their, as their first choice.
Okay.
and that's what I was gonna say, it sounded like, you said, Burton, you said that you changed the 200 to a 400, what's the process of doing that? You just do it?
I can mark it on
Okay.
my jacket appraisal and enter it into the
So
computer.
really, the zoning is,
Takes precedence.
the zoning takes precedence, and if something wavers down the road, your codes will change according to whatever.
Correct,
whatever
so,
is- Okay,
again, if, you know, there was a hotel somewhere and it got demolished, we would change it to a 100 something, a vacant, and then they built a house there, we'd change it to a 200 something. If they built a mine on it, we would change it to a 900 something, or
So-
800.
and you were saying there was some confusion on some website, it was showing.
Well, the assessor's website shows the land use or the use as residential when it turned out to be commercial and posed a problem for getting a loan on the property. The other issues that have come up is that there's zoning, I'm gonna use the example is Fairview Lane, where everybody owns horses, but it's not necessarily zoned.
And we have conflicts throughout the county with the zoning and the actual use, and I mean,
So,
that's more for you guys.
It makes it harder for the people in the business of selling real estate to know exactly what's going on. So if the recommendation is this, I just go by zoning and ask for variances as they come up, like the Iron Drive stuff, or the Fairview Drive stuff, because it's not zoned for horses, but everybody but the vacant lot the lady wanted to buy has horses. So things haven't been, how can I put it?
So, I would say from my, you know, relatively limited experience the last 5+ years, is that the city and the county, and now the RPC, the council, the commission, and you guys, just starting now, is they have tried to be much more consistent recently, but a lot of things have happened prior, you know, in might have gotten out of whack with the zoning. And they've tried not to do a lot of spot zoning, with properties, so, I mean, I think that's good to try to be more consistent. But you have the historical stuff, just like Carol was talking about, that has happened.
That's gonna be the issue, and to address the historical stuff, I'm assuming that, and this isn't my land deal, that the person that wanted to buy or sell the property on Fairview Lane would have to ask for a variance, so they fit with everybody else that's on Fairview Lane, and they could have, the reason this client backed out was, well, zoning says we can have horses, but everybody else here has horses. So they would need to ask for a variance in the zoning and use the same logic, I'm thinking, that they did on Iron Drive and.
Correct.
Okay.
So the best long-term solution is to have better data out there, especially, so, we could have both together. But it's just a manpower issue, and, we have some on our GIS for outside of the city limits within the county, that some of that is, in time has become a little bit accurate with, it was zoned all commercial in one area, and then things got split up, and these are different now.
Okay.
And
I
that-
understand that because I'm working with properties in Cherry Creek right now, and I can't find a title company that wants to touch them with a 10-foot pole because of the historical problems.
Back to the thing was, anybody had ideas of how to make it more.
Act on a few areas, Buckbell Avenue is one, where we have rezoned the whole area, and we've notified all the people that live there of what is going on, and then we've taken and divided up the fees equally, so it makes it minimal for the fees, to make it so that the property becomes compliant, conforming with the zoning.
Okay. That's answered a lot of my questions.
You gotta turn up the volume.
We have a lot of addressing conflicts in the county. Brad and Jennifer have been working a lot to try to make those consistent. And you want to talk about mad people, wait till you change their address that they've had for 40 years. But it's the right thing to do.
I'm just trying to figure out the avenues I have, and other realtors would have, and other property owners would have, so that they can comply with the needs of the buyer and the seller and still function within the zoning.
I'm open to, my office,
I
we're
guess-
open to.
Brad, when you said you made there were changes to the zoning, do those get reported to the assessor's office?